Hey, this is Nate Carver, your favorite mortgage guy with Between Two Doors. And my guest today is Krista Russo from Success Mortgage Partners. And we're going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to hand the reins over to Krista and let her be the MC, and I'll be the guest. Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. Krista, hey, how are you doing?
I am so excited to be here with the mortgage guy. It is an honor to sit here with you and let everybody get to know you a little bit better. So, let me ask you, what inspired you to become a mortgage loan advisor?
I can say it's not something I grew up dreaming about. Um, I had, I've loved real estate. I've done flips and some investments and stuff like that, and it never occurred to me to be a lender. And just happenstance, I was an Uber driver for a brief moment of my life, and I had a passenger that owned a bank, and he is a mortgage guru. And he goes, after I went to drop him off, the short story there is he said, "Hey, you got a good head on your shoulders. Go get your license and come work with me, and I'll make you." He told me, he said, "I'll make you $250,000 your first year," and I was like, "What?" And so that was during the refi boom, in 2019, 2020. And so 2021 in that area, that timeline. And so I went and got my license, and I called him up. Hey, this is Nate. I was your Uber driver. You told me to get my license, and I got it. So I went in the next day, and I met with him and his business partner, and he goes, "So why do you want to be a loan officer?" And I said, "Well, my first answer, my honest answer is that I want to help people get homes. I think that's pretty awesome. Like I said, I've flipped houses and stuff, and I loved seeing that piece of it." And he goes, "No, why do you really want to do this?" I said, "Well, you told me I could make $250,000, and so
Yeah.
I'm here to call that." And so he's like, "All right, let's do this," and we did. It was amazing. And that was the refi boom. So
I
that year, I got
I
hooked.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that people probably don't know about you, well, there's a couple of things. You're just an amazing individual. You're a light to be around, and you definitely make a difference everywhere that you go. But one of the things that I absolutely am fascinated by you is your farming and the honey. I
Yeah.
just the beehive and how you got into all of that. What what kind of drove you to do those things?
So I guess it's a connection to my parents, my grandparents. I even remember my great grandparents when I was a real little kid. Always had gardens, um, and so gardening, vegetables, all that. It's just part of life. Fresh vegetables. I tell you, to this day, there's nothing like a fresh tomato sandwich. Uh,
Agreed.
there's nothing that compares to it. But that's everything in the garden, and plus a bit of a I care about my health. I like to know what I'm putting in my body, and everything out there in the garden is natural. So not to get too woo woo, but I'm trying to grow things in that.
Hey, I can attest to that because when we were at the VA event, you made me try the brownie first because
Yes.
you, you didn't know what was in it. So I mean, I was the guinea pig. That is 100% true. You
Yeah, and
needed to make sure it fit the standard.
that's probably a more recent event change in life where I've just got to where if I can't pronounce the ingredients, I'm gonna steer clear of it. I'm not dogmatic about it, but I'm just I figured less of that and more of something natural is probably better for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well,
and
in
then
gardening, oh, go
huh?
ahead. I was gonna say
Oh,
gardening and like you doing all of that, it kind of ties into the legacy that your grandparents and your parents, left behind, you seeing that, and you're moving
Yeah,
that along, but you wouldn't, most of the time, you wouldn't have that if you weren't a homeowner.
yeah.
So you being able to control that it's powerful. And I know for me, that's one of my long-term goals is to have some land so I can have my own fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, you can, it doesn't take much. I mean, with raised beds, raised bed gardens, and backyard gardening, it's something about just it's a connection to the soil. But there's life lessons there for me. It brings back every memory I have of my my heritage, my family. My dad passed away a couple of years back. Grandparents have passed, and so I feel like I'm out there with them, or they're with me. It's
Yeah,
just how I feel
yeah.
about it.
I love it. I love
And I
it. That's
connect to them that
powerful.
way. Um, and I just love it. It's a peaceful, it's a meditative moment time for me. A lot of hard work too. So it's not like it's relaxing. It is later on, but getting it built and all that, it's pretty relaxing. And then there's a life application there. Being able to take something from seed to table, and the whole growth cycle and delayed gratification, and really applies to the lending business. On the
Yes.
business side is, the proper steps. If you follow these steps, you'll get a tomato or a watermelon. Um, that and that doesn't happen overnight. That cycle can take 6 to 9 months, and depending on what you're growing. And so it's all, and then you go the constant tending to that in its growth cycle. There's a life lesson there that I'm constantly annually I'm reminded of. And a lot of if you read the Bible, a lot of passages in the Bible are agricultural or agrarian society, and that so it helps make for me it helps those connections when I'm reading the Bible, and
Yeah.
so that pretty
I
important
love
to me.
it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the honey. I want to get to the honey.
I know
Because
you have to get to the honey because that
so
was so intriguing when I first met you, and I had to like dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so in Boy Scouts years ago, well, I guess they still do it, but they have all these merit badges. You do this event, this process, you learn a new skill set, and they give you a merit badge. And I was 15, 16 years old, racing towards my Eagle Scout, and everybody I knew we all had the same merit badges. We were all doing the same stuff. And it was my own, I was like, I'm going to do something different because I wanted to stand out, however that could possibly be. I mean, it's a uniform in the Boy Scout. So I found beekeeping, and I knew nobody that had a beekeeping merit badge. I think they've discontinued it or rolled it into something else now. But I went and did that, and I had my one merit badge that stood out among all the others. And anytime I would see another Eagle Scout, they didn't have it. It was just me. They were like, "What's
I
that?"
love that.
It's a little
Competitive
bee,
Nate.
right? And so
Yeah.
I did that. I really enjoyed it. So that was 15, 16 years old. And then at the time, I thought I could do this when I get older in life and have my own place. I will totally do this beekeeping stuff. And 6 or 7 years ago, I was at a point where I was ready to do that. I went and got a beehive. So here I am thinking I'm being a trailblazer, doing something nobody else has done. I'm in Florida. I go to this beekeeper who's been doing it for centuries. And um, he goes, "Your last name Carver?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he's going to see this. He takes me over to this old beehive, and it is branded with my great uncle. So two greats, right? Um,
Wow.
and he has several of them. and it's got his brand on the side of the box, on the side of the beehive box. And, and I was like, I haven't done anything that nobody else has,
Okay,
people,
that's powerful though.
right?
Like, yeah. Well, and I want to touch on this, and I like to look at things much deeper, but that you've done in your life, you've allowed them to not only shape you, because you are a veteran as well. Thank you for your service, but you
Worth
put
it.
in a lot of hard work and energy into every single thing that you do, and you're likable. I mean, I trust you. You're just an amazing human being, and you put that same effort into every loan that you touch and every relationship with every realtor, every partner, every client, and everyone that you work around. And so it just is really just one of the great characteristics about you, but it shows from even when you were 15 years old and you were diving into, I'm going to do something different. And I watch you and get the honor to watch you do that with loans that come in, and they don't fit a vanilla box, but you're willing to do whatever it takes and go the extra mile. And then you do have the support of, our leadership team, Allison Johnston here at SMP, that they're going to meet and they're going to find a way to make deals get done. They support every effort. They're not afraid to make phone calls just like you. And I love hearing the background of who you are, because it just is 100% who you are today.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, you're absolutely incredible. So let me ask you this. What inspired you to start the podcast Between Two Doors? And I would love to talk about the name, because as soon as I heard the name, I was like, I have to know what his meaning was behind that. So fill me in.
Okay. So the podcasting is not normal or natural to me. I'm much reserved. I really am. I'm I don't need to be out, but like this. But the I was told, and I've got a coach. I've got people that have poured into my life as far as being a lender and how to grow a mortgage business and take care of my clients and my real estate agent partners. They said you need to do a podcast, and so I pushed against that. Well, I won't say I pushed it. I just ignored it. So
Yeah, for a
I
little
just
bit.
I'm like, oh, I'll put that on the calendar for a year from now, and then a year from now, I'll move it down the calendar another year, right? And so I did that for about a year and a half, thinking I wasn't ready to do it. I don't think I ever was ready to do it. Okay, I made a decision. We're doing this podcast thing, and um, put a real date on the calendar when we were going to launch it, and didn't know anything about it other than to press record on the camera on the software, and I've got Edu Marketing to do everything else, putting it all together. Um, but I guess in that time period, I listened to a lot of podcasts, professional and personal, and there's some greats out there. There's two that we both know that have the number one, number
Yeah.
one and number two podcast, and then we have Breakfast Club. So there's some patterns that are modeled for us. Um, and then I look at some other podcasts that I like personally that are all conversational interviews. And I'm just like, oh, I can do this, I think. So we're going to try it. And so pull the trigger on it, brainstorming a great name. We're in real estate, so you're moving from one house to another house, and for a lot of people, it's a renter that's buying their first home, or it's someone else that's got to sell a house in order to buy a house, so they're moving. And I was like, well, you're between two doors, and I did get,
Good.
I guess, borrowed from Zach Galifianakis's podcast, which is Between Two Ferns, which is it's hysterical and sometimes raunchy, but I was like, okay, I can't do that. I won't be. But he roasts people pretty good, and but I liked that, and I said, well, we'll just do it. We'll do Between Two Doors since it fits it, and
Yeah. I love the name. I love
yeah.
it.
and I was shocked to see that it wasn't, nobody had it. And so I paid for it, got it. And funny thing is, it wasn't much. It was like $50 or whatever to buy the domain. But as soon as I bought it, I don't know if this means anything or not, but I guess the platform that I bought it and got it registered came back and gave me a valuation on day one. My platform, without doing anything, was worth like $1,000. So I was like, I made $1,000.
Nice. Great job. I love to hear that.
I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
have any idea what that means, but
well, that we don't, hey, we get to take it for what we believe it means. So it's a positive. Okay, I have to ask you because of all the people that you speak with, what is one of the common misconceptions about the field that we're in is mortgage lenders?
so
On the realtor, it could be the realtor side or the borrower side or both.
right. So from the borrower's side, if they're looking for a home, they're experts in their lives, whatever their career is. Maybe they're retired, they got grandchildren, children, whatever their sphere of influence is, they're the expert in that. When it comes to real estate, they may be a first time buyer or they may have bought 7 years ago, whatever. The laws change with every administration. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the laws get tweaked.
Yes,
And then, interest rates move up and down 3 or 4 times a day. Um, I would say the biggest misconception is that, or the biggest obstacle is that borrowers they what their knowledge base on buying a home, it's either dated or it's because somebody in their sphere of influence told them something that they believe to be true.
right,
And it might be, but it's not the only truth because we're talking, I mean, how many different types of loans are there? There's a bunch, VA, conventional, FHA, you got down payment assistance, USDA down payment assistance. There's so many different, and that's just government backed loans. Then you got non-qualified government backed or non-government backed loans. There's so many different ways to go about acquiring a house that if, as a buyer, you may hear one thing that conflicts with what you quote know, and then you think you can't buy a house.
right,
Whereas if you're talking to a licensed mortgage loan officer that knows their trade and has the depth of resources, that that loan officer can really be your advocate. It's supposed to be and should be your advocate in getting a home, um, in guiding and navigating that, and ultimately building that borrower, that family, a clear path to a mortgage. We call
right.
it build their mortgage, um, a clear mortgage plan. And so I think on the bar side, and I don't blame them. It's not their. They've got plenty of other things to think about. They got jobs,
Yeah.
careers, deadlines. They got a lot in soccer for the kid, whatever their things are. I want them to focus on that. I'm like, let me build this for you, and I'll build you a clear path to a home. And
Yeah.
so that on the buyer side, I think that's true. On the real estate agent side, um, they're having a good lender for the real estate agent, a partnership with them that can do more than just write a loan. A good lender can be a resource for a real estate agent to help them grow their business. I mean, our on that side of the equation, our number one goal is to help that real estate agent make more money each month, as long as ethical,
Right.
moral, legal, right? And so, we're taking care of future homeowners, and we're here to help that real estate agent be successful in their business. That's sometimes I don't know that they know that a lender can do that. I do know that during the refi boom, most lenders ghosted real estate agents, and a real estate, that's always here. The real estate agents tell me they couldn't find a lender during the refi boom, and
Right.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
and that's something that you do, Nate, is that, and you'll have to tell me, or I'm not sure if you can drop how people can reach out to you, but, you do have a real-time referral program. And I would love for realtors that are interested in knowing more about that to reach out
Mhm.
to you, so you can tell them how you can help them. But not just on the borrower side, but on the realtor side is you follow a philosophy of the daily success plan, and you are reaching out every single week to your borrowers, giving them file updates. You are doing whatever it takes on that path. So it's not it's not just a loan, it's a lifelong relationship that you want with not only your realtor partners, but with these clients. And because you want them to know, like, and trust you. And that's just the foundation of who you are. And I just wanted to touch on that because, I often hear, well, somebody has XYZ company has a lower interest rate. Well, there's a lot more that flows into interest rate that unfortunately borrowers don't know typically because it's not their field of expertise.
yeah,
So, and I don't expect you to touch on that today, but I think that that's one of the things that you're very, very good at is those lifelong relationships. And because people just know, like, and trust you, and you're not looking to just get them into any type of loan. It's the one that best suits their needs. And we have so many different options.
yeah.
Um, so, I mean, it's just one thing that I wanted to highlight. So just make sure you'll give them your contact information in the podcast, or I'm not sure how that works, but want to make sure if they want to reach out to you, they know how.
Yeah, whenever I'm hosting, when I'm the MC, I usually throw it at the end and ask the guests to, give us their best way to be contacted. For me, it's natecarver.com, or you could reach out to me. You can call me or text me 972-832-5761. I am definitely findable on the internet. Um,
Yes. Where will
yeah,
this podcast go to? Will they be able to see it, like if they wanted to check it out on Facebook, or where are all the avenues of the
so
podcast?
this podcast is starts on YouTube. It's on Spotify, so you have an audio option or video option or both. And then it's on I have a personal pod page. It's hosted by Pod Page, but it's betweentwodoors.com. So I have a library sitting there as well. Um, and then it ends up getting um, like a long form conversation like this will get turned into short sound bites for Reels, Instagram, TikTok. This is one of the things with the social media marketing pieces is that all that gets created for me, and then it just gets published, and each bit of that's tagged to that real estate agent also. So if they have their own marketing, they or yeah, if they have their own marketing plan, they can do that. Or if they have their own social media, they can grab it. I don't care. I'm not going to copyright anything I do. I'm going to let them have it, and they can share it however they wish. So that just creates multiple touch points for people looking for a real estate agent.
Oh, I love that. So let me ask you this too. You do like if somebody wanted to be on your show and talk to you, how would they do that? Just by reaching out to you?
Yeah. Okay. So my target interview group, if you will, is real estate agents and community influencers.
Okay.
And anybody in that would touch a real estate purchase transaction, title, insurance, everybody. I like talking to all these people because we get good content out. Um, we're doing origin stories, we're doing funny stories about real estate, and then key advice. Right, that's typically what we talk about. Um, so there's my website does have an intake form that
Okay.
a real estate agent or anybody could go to and request to be on a podcast. Um, yeah, and I've been doing. It's really kind of neat. I did an interview with a real estate agent. We got to talking about their charity event that they contribute to. I was like, well, let's do an interview with the president or CEO of that charity event. So I got to do that too. So what has that got to do with real estate? Nothing. However, it's that charity event is in that local community. I think people will will find that, and then they'll link. I'll link it over to that real estate agent. It just, I think it's just a way of keeping a community connected to each other.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Well, and getting to know about this charity, any kind of good, because that's just who you are.
yeah.
Um, so speaking of charities, let's touch on that for a second.
Uh-oh.
Um, you just did something extremely incredible. And
Oh,
you made a large donation to a charity. And that was one of your goals.
yeah.
And um, tell me how you got to that place of achieving the goal to be able to make that donation. Like, what activity did you do? Because I I think after people hearing this podcast and seeing the journeys that you've chose, such as beekeeping and creating the garden and doing all the things that you've done, you choose to do the things that are hard for you to achieve those things, and you like putting in the work to see the really good result. It's just fruits of your labor. So what did you do that got you to be able to, let's say, uh, be able to donate whatever the dollar amount was, but it was a significant dollar amount.
Yeah. So my coach had me pick a pick a an event, a charity, right? And so I picked one that's very dear to me, got some personal connections to, and I can get into that maybe. But they and then he said, "All right, now you need to call him and tell him you're going to do it and got a date and set the date." So I was like, so I did that. She got this, the president, she got ecstatic about that. And then I was like, I'll let myself down or give myself a pass all the time. It's
Right.
okay. Okay, whatever I don't achieve personally. I'm not going to let somebody else down. And so that was, for the timeline to get to that. And the contribution will be at Christmas time. So it's almost done. So,
Yeah.
um, but I had like a 45 or 60-day window to get to that goal. And, and so I, um, for me, I set up, some specific activities that I was going to do to reach out to, uh, my real estate agent partners, people that real estate agents that I work with, and and uh, and then committing to always asking for the business with those real estate agents, providing some value adds to them, which I do. And I mean, there's things that I'm known for doing, and then growing my referral base with new real estate agents or new to me real estate agents, and getting and building out relationships with them, and doing, writing loans for those real estate agents as well. So over a 60-day period, that's what I did. I'm committed to 2 hours of outbound sales activity, with a targeted audience.
Right.
And I was just really, I mean, I'm not looking to work with every real estate agent out there. Um, but I am looking to work with real estate agents that I always say that I know, like, and trust and can do
Yeah.
life with. It makes this career amazing when you get to work with people like that. And if any of my real estate agent partners I do business with are listening to this, I'm telling you, I know, like, and trust you. And I have some really wonderful partnerships now. Um, So, and I just duplicate that. I mean, I do that Monday through Friday. And
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
and the thing is too that you said, and I know that this is just who you are as a person, but I've gotten the pleasure to get to know you over the last year at events and just conversations. Um, if I was buying a home right now, I would definitely want to use Nate Carver. That's
oh,
for
you're
sure.
awesome.
But the thing is that your real estate agents, like I said before, and your clients are not transactions. This is a lifelong relationship. This is, which is why you don't want to work with everyone. Um, but you would love to be a part of people's journey long term. It's not just a transaction. This is much deeper for you. And that's one of the things that I love. And it's genuine to see someone and refreshing to see someone in the mortgage space with such love and passion for people and knowing that you set a goal and you could have done anything with that money and that was something that was really important to you. Your real referral partners know like they played a part in that
Yeah.
and your clients, and so it's a seed that you're sowing. And I know, and a lot of people probably don't know that are listening to this, but your dream one day is to have a sailboat, and you could have spent that money on a down payment for a sailboat or something, or put it in the sailboat fund. I don't know how big of a sailboat you want though, but I'm just
Oh,
saying
it's pretty
it's so
big.
yeah, oh gosh. Well, yeah, if you're doing the
Everybody,
ocean.
well, okay, so the sailboat, I want people on it, and there's no point in owning a boat unless I can get people out on it, and so it's got to be big enough to host 10 or 12,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
somewhere in there, and yeah, so that's the dream, and
That
that's gonna
is.
happen. But yeah,
It is going to happen. Well, I have to say, Nate, I am incredibly honored to know you. And I hope that this podcast really people get to see exactly who you are and what you're about because they they would be silly not to work with somebody so amazing as you.
hey, thanks, Krista, for flipping the table and being the MC and hosting. I appreciate that. If y'all enjoyed this, click the like down below. Maybe share. Would love an introduction to your favorite real estate agent. And if you know anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or refinance a home, I sure would love that personal introduction. Have a great night.